Alright, so I've been kind of working on this video talking about the new reveal that we had for the next upcoming Ordeal Call chapter, and I've seen so many theories going around with this. I mean, it's obviously going to be Jean. At the very beginning, you see the reference with her flag over here, but what people are kind of theorizing on is, okay, well, what do we have for Super Jean over here? What are they going to be mixed with? Because it's going to be based around rulers, and it clearly looks like she has some kind of power-up, quote-unquote. And so a lot of people are kind of theorizing about her getting some angel-type power, like she's going to be imbued with an angel or something, which I have been always really curious to see what Fate would do with them, just because of, like, the stats and skills and stuff that they would give to them. Like, how would they interpret angels that literally just translates to being a messenger into an entity in, you know, the Fate world? I'm like, one of the things that I had to talk with a friend about a couple of years ago was like, I wonder if they would count them as having like some type of divinity, considering what other characters qualify as getting divinity, or would they get something like a goddess core skill, something that is supposed to mimic something along those lines, but it's not actual divinity, because angels aren't divine, right? Like in Christian belief, you know, they're the only one God in that belief, right? Like the angels aren't counted as like separate deities or anything. They're just the messengers of God in that sense. So I was kind of wondering, what would they do with angels? And so then I've been seeing a lot of different theories and ideas floating around as to like what she's going to be imbued with. My take on this one is that it's probably going to be Michael is what I'm counting on, because the other class that Jean is summonable into is Saber, right? Like, you can summon the ruler version of Jean to like mediate the Grail Wars and whatnot, but she technically can be summoned as a Saber with La Pucelle, and that has been something that I've always been really interested in. In fact, when we got the rerun for the Fate Apocrypha event a couple of years ago, I was like, if they do the rerun and they want to toss in an additional servant, kind of like what they did with Seraph, where on the first run of the event, it was just Kiara and Melt Lilith, but then on the rerun, they brought in King Protea. I was thinking for a similar line, oh, we could finally get a Saber Jean, and we just didn't get any new characters. So I'm kind of personally banking on that for a little bit of lore fulfillment on my part. I think it'd be really cool to see what they could do with Jean with La Pucelle, because she's clearly very strong. I mean, if you've seen Fate Apocrypha, she's able to match Amakusa's NP, like the Twin Arm Bit Crunch, which has some pretty crazy little lore bits about that as well. It's just the fact that it cost her life. It is incredibly powerful, but it does cause her to die upon using the NP. But the more that I kind of thought about it, I was just trying to see what they might be able to do with some of the things that I already have established, because not light spoilers for Arcade, because nobody over here is going to be going through the Arcade story, and it's not like that long or in depth in and of itself, especially compared to the mobile game. But we do have Noah in Arcade, right? As I'm sure a lot of people know for like Grand Rider, and one of the NPs that he has is the flaming sword that is guarding the Garden of Eden. And so with that, I'm like, okay, so we kind of are building a little bit of the Christian characters up in this one. So what can we do with Jean? And well, one thing that Michael is very famous for, actually, in like I did pull up some research, some reference material. And so Michael is the angel that in the Book of Revelations is the one that's going to come down and, you know, fight the devil. There's also a passage in the Book of Enoch, which is not an official book of the Bible, but with how Nasu and a lot of the writers like to go about with the Fate works, they do take interpretations from other biblically adjacent books. I mean, like, we just got Dante, right? And Dante is in... he's in here. Is he? Where's he at? Yeah, there's Dante. Like, Dante's Inferno and Paradise Lost and these like ideas of purgatory are not actually biblical concepts, right? They're not things that are in the Bible. They are kind of like extracurricular material, if you want to view it that way. And so they're pulling like these guys in. So it's perfectly fine. Like they're probably gonna pull in some extra stuff. You can use things from the Book of Enoch. And in the Book of Enoch, the sword that like Michael describes is like the sword that's capable of basically killing the devil, right? Big, super big sword, like super big strong. That's all you gotta know about that one. And so as far as like tying things together, I think that would tie Michael and Jean together if we want like this kind of final judge type thing for us going into this next ordeal call, where we're going to be judged in the ruler. I almost said Lost Belt, but ruler ordeal call, I guess, if you want to call it that, without like getting too much into things, because again, y'all guys don't have ordeal call 1 yet, so I don't want to get too much into it. The other one that I have seen thrown around is Metatron, which I think is interesting because Metatron is one of those angels that you will probably hear about as like, oh, this is like the most powerful angel that there is, right? And there's a couple of different interpretations on him. For one, not in the Bible, right? So this is going to be one of those more extracurricular guys you got to go out and look at because he's more in like Jewish beliefs, right? Like where he's kind of like an extra material, not actually mentioned in the Bible itself. But it is known as like a very powerful angel. And in some records, he's kind of said to be like the information keeper, right? Like he just knows a lot of stuff, like a record keeper, if you will. So for something along those lines, I think that also could work if this is going to be like a final judge type thing, where it's like, oh, well, she's going to be imbued with like the strongest angel that they have. You know, they're going to use that. She's going to have all this knowledge and stuff, so she can accurately judge us in this. Like, well, I keep almost saying lost spell, but they could go something along those lines. Regardless, I think one of those two are fairly solid. I mean, there's like obvious angelic names that are like known, like, oh, Gabriel, but it's like, well, Gabriel is more of like the messenger, right? Like, you know, he like is delivering, you know, good news and stuff to people throughout the Bible. But it's not like Gabriel has any notable, like, oh, like Michael over here, where it's like, yeah, Michael and his angels fight against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back, meaning like the devils, right? Like, so it's like basically final battle of like Armageddon type things, where like Michael's getting in there. Gabriel is like not mentioned by name. He's mentioned by name in other passages, but again, usually with, you know, angels deriving from the word messenger, he's just there to be like, hey, God wants you to know this. Peace out, dude. I'm out. I'm leaving. So I think one of those two could be really good options. Either one I think is very cool. I don't know if there's very many other options you could go with. I'm like trying to think if they could maybe instill her with a certain saint. I think that could be a way to kind of subvert things and still be a cool idea. You know, if you kind of overlap the saints onto each other. I know this character's a little bit goofy, but Edison is basically every single United States president in one, if you read the America chapter. So I do think if they wanted to do like composite Saint Jean, that could also be really cool. I would not be opposed to something like that. There are quite a few very cool saints that they could get into with different like cool stories and whatnot. But I think I would be much more interested in seeing how they would handle things on the angel side of things. Because, like I said, when I was first getting into Fate, that was one of the things that I had questions. I was like, huh, what about for, like, you know, they've done this for, like, Hindu mythology. They've done this for, like, Greek mythology. And, you know, these are the Roman gods, and this is how they interpret them being, you know, similar, like, one and the same because of all the renaming and stuff that the Romans did when they came in and conquered stuff. What would they do with angels, right? Like, how would they count them as, like, divinities? Like, these clearly, like, higher stature beings, but they're not actually gods in this theology, right? They're just messengers of their one patron deity, which is interesting because, you know, it's like Christianity functions a lot differently than a lot of these like pantheistic religions, right? Where they only have one major dude as opposed to all these other religions having guys that are split off into multiple things. It's like, how would they kind of interpret stuff like that? So I'm really curious to see what they will do with that one. Just as an aside, because I know a lot of people, we're all like speculating this is going to end up being Lilith. I think this also does give credence that they might be going into more like extracurricular Christianity like materials, especially now that she's got like the snake, you know, on her shoulder and everything here. But like Lilith is not in the Bible either. Like if you go read like the story in the book of Genesis, right? Like she's not in there. It's just Adam, Eve, and the devil as a snake, right? Like there's no other just random actors running around in that story. So I'll be kind of curious to see what they will do with that. If they do end up making this Lilith, I'm trying to think of something that could be a like off theory, but it does seem like it's very clearly pointing towards that direction. Like when we first saw her on the Ordeal Call poster, one of my speculations was, well, maybe they're going to try to really throw us off and they're going to finally give us like a 5-star Liz character, maybe, but there's probably no way, right? There's no way you can really fit Liz into an actual serious story, which, I mean, thank God, because I'm not the biggest Liz fan, so I thought it would have been cool for the people that are Liz fans, but I'm like, I'd be happier to see if this was like Lilith or something, because then we could kind of also get information for how like devils and demons will more so function from a Christian theological perspective, right? As opposed to the interpretation that say they have for like Hindu demons or like, you know, these malevolent forces in other mythologies, right? I think it'll just be very, very cool. And I'm really surprised we haven't gotten a whole lot of those. I mean, yeah, sure, we have like the demon pillars, but those are like just giant like dildos popping out of the ground, right? Ain't nobody care about that. I want to see like a guy, you know, I want to see like a dude, like a humanoid person. What they do with this, that's like a playable character, you know, I want to see what we get into that. Now, I guess it does bring into question with like, could they do something with Goetia? Because I think if you made it past like like Lost Belt 5 and 6, you know, pretty obvious that you've seen the Chaldean, quote unquote, I guess we'll call him, running around. So they can maybe bring that guy in and see what they do with him. But yeah, these are just kind of some of my thoughts on it. Just you know, giving some theories on what's going on, because I'm very excited because, dude, I freaking love John. I think I've told this story a couple of times, but when I was first getting into Fate, and I was a much younger lad, but I remember watching Fate Apocrypha and being devastated when John got destroyed by Almakus at the end. I remember I went to work that day and I was like, dude, this is so depressing. I can't believe the cute anime girl got exploded. And then, but I, you know, couldn't tell anybody. I was like, no, this is like the dumbest thing to be like sad over. But I think just because it's a good show, it means it hit emotionally. But I was like, I can't be like, dude, like, why are you so down? It's like, oh man, this character that I thought was really, really cool got obliterated by another character. But that's enough. That's a life story stuff. Y'all need to look more to be revealed in the future. But these are just some of my thoughts on what I kind of take from this as a gleam from it, because I keep seeing more and more people talk about it. They're like, oh my goodness, it's gonna be like Metatron or like Metatron, and I'm like, okay, well, like there are other angels that probably fit, and I would personally like to see Michael a little bit more. But that's because I want like to lean into more of those Saber aspects of things, with us really not getting anything with La Pucelle for Jean, because she can't really use it because she'll die if she uses it. So if we can kind of get something in that class where maybe she can use it more, because she's got Michael having the whole epitaph in the Book of Enoch of getting like the sword of God to go kill the devil with, right? Like I think that could be really cool if they imbue her with that. But then if they want to lean more into the actual ruler side of things, where Metatron is like this record keeper and whatnot, then I do think that could also be a really good thing to lean into, because then she would have a lot of knowledge. On top of already being a ruler, she would have like this knowledge of creation and stuff because of Metatron. And if they want to focus more on like the intelligence side of things and less the strength side of things, I think that could be really cool. I think that could be like a very interesting way to go about it. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Maybe there is a different angel or specific saint that you're thinking of. Again, I also think the composite saint thing is kind of a cook, but let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And with all that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace, late guys.